To think this team was suffering through a 5-game losing streak. To think this team had a 7% chance at making the playoffs when the team they just knocked out of the playoffs had over an 85% chance of making it. How good does it feel to be on top right now?
I don't know what feels better, to be on top or to have the Titans be as down bad as they are. I think as much as everyone's talking about the resurrection of our season and the turnaround of our season, you can say that just as much as the downfall for the Titans, an epic proportion, and not just for this season, but for many years to come, I believe. I think what we saw on Saturday night was a turning point in this division.
1000%. Just a quick sidetrack. I'm so excited to see where the Titans are in their quarterback hunt because it seems clear Malik Willis is not their quarterback of the future. It just seems like they don't want to use him. If they wanted him, they would have had him playing. They would have seen something, but no, they went and got Josh Dobbs. So to see him out, pretty much out of the CJ Stroud, Bryce Young sweepstakes at picking at number 11, it seems like they are right smack dab in the middle of Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. Go ahead, spin that roulette wheel of death and see if you get the guy that's going to be a bum. I am very, very excited to see what happens with their downfall. I like you that's the perfect word for it. King Henry is no longer. Trevor Lawrence sits atop the AFC South with that crown, and his feet are propped up on Mike Vrabel and the rest of the Tennessee Mayo-eating Titans.
I am not ashamed to admit that when Trevor Lawrence took the first knee in victory formation, I started to cry.
Oh,
and I am not afraid to admit that because, man, for people who, have been with this team, have lived and died with this team, like you and I, like, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. And speaking of beautiful things to see, we would not be doing our due diligence if we did not bring up the fact that the Houston Texans won yesterday. So let me tell you something. I pay every single year for the NFL Sunday ticket to watch the Jaguars. And the Jaguars weren't playing yesterday. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to watch something. So I watched the Texans and I watched them win. And it was worth every cent because you talk about, you know what? I think Jaguar fans ought to send a care package to Lovie Smith.
Yes.
Because I think he knew that Houston was going to kick him to the curb. And he said, okay, you guys like Bryce Young? Well, guess what? You're not getting him now.
Yep. Have fun with Davis Mills.
Yep. and honestly, all kidding aside, Indianapolis may be worse. They may have an extra win. They may actually be in a worse state of franchise.
They need a head coach desperately because they have so many stars that are just aging away. They have rookie contracts that are deteriorating in front of their eyes. The team that I'm afraid of getting a quarterback is the Colts. Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Jonathan Taylor. That's a scary trio of weapons, in my opinion.
But you know what I hope they do? If the Raiders part ways with Derek Carr,
yes,
go ahead, go get Derek Carr.
Let him be the next geriatric has-been that they drag into Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, but you know what? We're not here to talk about the other losers in the South. No. We're here to talk about the Kings.
The winners.
And you know what? You were lucky enough to be there on Saturday night. I watched from my home, but Saturday night, that game, it got me through my work week thinking about it. Yes. And I thought it was going to be a party. I thought it would be a game that would be over by halftime.
Yes.
I ordered a bunch of food. I had, my cousin over who's a big Jags fan as well. And I was thinking, man, like, tonight is going to be a historic, fun party. And it was not that until about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
It was scary. Like, when I tell you, we didn't know what was going to happen because Trevor was sailing passes he shouldn't have been. and it just seemed like an off night for the Jaguars offense. It was a very weird game. And it seemed like the Jaguars were, I hate to say playing down, but it seemed like the Jags were playing down and the Titans were just trying to play spoiler. It seemed like they wanted to win it more than we did at times in that game because the Jags offensive line struggled. Travis Etienne struggled. 19 rushing yards total for the Jaguars. That's abysmal. I mean,
That's worse than I realized.
that is awful. And the fact that Trevor Lawrence managed to have 200 passing yards in the game honestly surprises me. That has to just be a ton of yards after the catch because there was Christian Fulton had the great pass breakup on Christian Kirk in the end zone. And thank God the Jaguars got the one passing touchdown that they did because that offense wasn't doing anything. I just don't know another way to say they weren't doing anything, but they weren't. It was, I mean, I don't know if that's how it seemed on TV. Maybe, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were hyping them up a little bit more than what they were, but man, the defense bailed them out.
Yeah, it was a very unsettling evening for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very, I don't know how to describe it other than once the Titans went up 10-0,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of sunk into my mind like, oh, this is really happening.
Yeah, this might
like this the Jaguars are really going to lose this game, and it's going to be a long 9 months until until we play football again to get this out of our mouths. Like we're really about to watch Josh Dobbs in the playoffs. But you know what? I said this in the last video that I made. The Jaguars last year do not win this game.
No.
The Jaguars the year before do not win this game. We heard in October during that 5-game stretch where we lost, we'd hear Jeff Lageman and all those guys going, good teams, I got to find a way to win. Well, you know what? The Titans, we hate their stinking guts, but give them credit. They totally took away Travis Etienne.
Yes.
And Trevor Lawrence's strength is playing off of play action. And when Etienne's running for, 19 yards in a game, play action does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
So give credit to, Satan himself by doing that to the Jags. And Jaguar teams in the past, they would have had no answer.
No, none.
No answer. But
that
you know what?
Good.
I was going to say, good teams find a way to win.
Absolutely. That game would have been over last year after the Lawrence fumbled Agnew.
Absolutely.
That game would have been done.
And because I believe it was after that fumble that Tennessee went down and scored to make it 10-0.
Yep, they did. Yeah, that game, that would have sucked every ounce of momentum because the Jags were driving. They were having a good drive. And that just seemed like they were playing too up. They just seemed too hype. There was never a settled down period until it was, oh, we are like hip deep in mud and we are struggling.
Right.
And then it was just too late it felt like to get anything going. But let's talk about some positives. I know I'm a massive Logan Cook fan. I'm sure most Jaguar fans are. I think Logan Cook might have had his best game of possibly his career. 4 punts, 4 landed inside the 20 with a net average over 50 yards. Like
if every player on this roster was as good at their job as Logan Cook is at his,
we wouldn't be able to afford him.
We'd win the Super Bowl. Well, yeah, that's a good point. We wouldn't be able to afford anyone, but we'd win the Super Bowl this year.
No my question. God, we'd run laps around them. You could assemble the Avengers of NFL teams, and
yes,
Logan Cook is damn. If he's not the best punter in the league, he is second best, and he is on the heels of the guy in first.
But you know what's awesome though? There may have been a time in the last couple of years where we're talking about Logan Cook and then immediately would follow up like, well, at least, our punter's good.
Mm-hmm.
At least we got a good punter. It doesn't.
Well, your offense is going to suck and you need a good one. So
doesn't it feel good to your soul to not be there anymore?
It feels so good to be laughing about how our punter is so good.
Yes.
It's because 8-9 weeks ago, It wasn't a laughing matter. It was a serious thing. Is Logan Cook one of the top 5 most talented Jaguars on the team? Is he, one of the top 3 best performing Jaguars on the team? Those were legitimate conversations.
Yeah.
And now it's oh no, it's not. Luke Fortner has been playing out of his mind. Trayvon Walker has emerged into this man beast that is wrecking. He's not getting the sacks, but man, is he being an impactful force on that line. Josh Allen, holy crap.
Yeah, Josh Allen has finally, if we could get 17 games of the last month, we're going to have to give him the bag.
He is going to want it. He's going to want it regardless, which I am. If we get.
I would play him out in the 5th year.
100%.
And then maybe like next December, late November, if he's playing like that, pay him. Maybe. But Josh Allen's not the guy that's gonna like hold out of camp or anything. So like he'll play through the 5th year next year for sure.
I definitely think he holds out through OTAs and training camp. I definitely I don't think he's gonna sit out games, but I do think he's gonna hold their butt to the fire until the regular season starts. I can't. I mean, in this day and age where agents it's power to the players. It's 100%. It's gone to the days of brand loyalty and you guys drafted me. I just can't see an NFL player in this day and age saying, yeah, you guys have done right by me when he's played for nothing but mediocrity his entire career until this year.
That's true. One more player I'd like to kind of give a shout out to, Walker Little.
Yes. Yes.
When Cam Robinson went down,
mm-hmm.
Some Jaguar fans, I think, a lot of people wanted Evan Neal. I don't remember if you were one of those people.
I was not. I was Team Hutchinson.
That's right. A lot of people wanted Evan Neal. And I understood why the Jaguars re-signed Cam Robinson, because you have a franchise quarterback. You don't want a rookie in a year where, especially Trent Baalke, needed this team to perform and win. You didn't want to place the safety of your franchise quarterback in the hands of a rookie, as opposed to a guy who's been on the team, has played solid. And Cam Robinson, up to his injury, had his best year, I think, by far.
Oh, the offensive line has been playing out of its mind. Ben Barch was having a great year until his injury. Jawan Taylor, you talked about it, has been playing out of his mind. Brandon Sheriff is Brandon Sheriff, who, although he did get whooped by
Brandon Sheriff this season, let me say about him, he has had a lot of moments where I've noticed he's created holes, he's pancaked some dudes, but he's had some whiffs.
He has had bad. He has had like Jawan Taylor like level misses whenever he was playing in the dumpster, where you just look at it and go, how much money are you, like, you were the franchise signing.
Yeah, you've been the best left guard or right guard in the NFL for how many years? And but back to Walker Little, the drop off has not been there.
No, it's going to be a great conversation this offseason.
Absolutely. And, Tony Baselli talked about it a little bit on Jaguars Monday today. I was listening. He's going up against Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great test. And if not Joey Bosa, it'll be Khalil Mack.
Exactly.
Cam Robinson in week 3 did a really good job against those guys. Neither one of them sacked Trevor. But, will Walker Little do the same thing? He's not that I can think of. He's not really allowed a sack. I don't think so. Has he necessarily played the same exact level as Cam Robinson? Probably not, but there, at least in my mind and maybe some other fans' mind, there was this idea of like, could there be a drop off? Could there be a noticeable drop off? Because you got to think, for most of training camp and everything, he was competing with Jawan Taylor for the right tackle.
Yes.
Not the left side. So he finally gets there, and it's been okay. It's, if anything, when the Jaguars have given up pressure, it's been from the interior. And that's because I think with the draft, which the Jaguars, I look today, are picking 21st. Holy crap. Holy crap. So
Absolutely.
if you see a shiny left guard at 21, 22,
No,
take them.
no
If you
way.
feel like you can get a nice guard there to upgrade from Tyler Shatley, pick them. Make this the most boring first round. Pick a guard. I don't care. Like,
You can't move on from the Smoothie King. Ben Barch was playing well before he got injured. All right, he was playing well, and unfortunately, Jameis Winston's dealing with it now. You can't let an injury take your job. And I don't think the Jags use a high round draft pick. But to answer your question about Walker Little and his sacks since he's come back in, what did he come in the Jets game or the Dallas game?
Dallas.
Dallas, right?
Yep.
All right, so we've got 10 hurries allowed, one quarterback hit in the Jets game, and then one sack allowed in the Houston game per PFF. That's what I'm seeing here. So ultimately, one sack allowed in 4 games. Yes, I'm a fan of the quarterback stat, it being a quarterback stack, not a tackle sack. But ultimately, what is that? 2.5 pressures a game from a backup left tackle.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And you know what? A second round pick who, if we're being honest, on most teams would probably be starting.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, at one point, I believe it was Dallas, when they lost their tackle, they actually inquired with the Jags about Walker Little.
They did.
So, he would start for other teams. The Jaguars, me included, freaked out when we spent a second round pick on him. But we're in a situation now where, who would you rather starting as your left tackle playing against the Chargers this Saturday night? Walker Little or Will Richardson? Yeah.
Oh God.
So
I
obviously, there you
it's that's one position that you can I'm not I would never stick my nose up at taking early depth, especially at the tackle spots. It's like taking an extra corner, taking an extra tackle. Because at those positions they go down, you are in deep with
go.
some
Yeah.
of the talent that's in this league. I mean, I can't imagine having to rely on Trey Herndon to guard Jamar Chase.
Right.
Like you're talking about Will Richardson. Okay, yeah, here's Khalil Mack.
You're
And whenever
right.
he's tired, you have Joey Bosa. But I do want to get your take on this. I was talking about it with my guys that I tailgate with. We were kind of torn on it. I was in one camp, they were all in the other, and I was staunchly standing on my hill. Rayshawn Jenkins or Jamal Agnew. You can only keep one. Who do you keep? They're both very expensive, and one of them is probably going to be a cap casualty.
It's really funny you brought this up because I was actually having this, not the exact same, but about Rayshawn Jenkins with my cousin on Saturday night, and he was saying that Rayshawn Jenkins has a high cap hit next year. I didn't think that was the case.
Pull it up.
It is the case, though. You're
Is it?
saying,
I believe it is. I believe he's one of the highest paid Jaguars on the team.
because I was thinking it was Shaq Griffin with the high cap hit.
Oh, well, he is. He will be the third highest paid Jaguar next year if they keep him. He is the highest
Really?
paid this year. Let's see, 2023. Rayshawn Jenkins has a dead cap hit of 4 million, a cap hit of 10.2.
Goodness gracious. Oh
His
man.
10th highest cap hit on the team. So the team saves $6 million by keeping him or by releasing him, opposed to obviously Shaq Griffin, where they saved 13 million. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, Shaq. Yes. Goodbye, Shaq. Well, they moved Darius Williams outside, and it's been only better. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it won't be missed. Um, Man, some people may call me an idiot on this, but oh, I'm I'm almost I'm almost feeling more towards Jenkins keeping, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just because he's made some crucial plays as of late
He
against
has.
Dallas and then Saturday night. And whereas I almost feel like, okay, you lose Jamal Agnew. Well, guess what? Surprise, you get Calvin Ridley next year.
Yeah. And
So,
yeah,
if you get rid of Jenkins, who do you go and put next to Cisco? Do you trust Daniel Thomas that much? Sure, he's shown flashes, but you don't know what you have in Daniel Thomas.
exactly. And
Is
that is
that what you
the part
said?
that terrifies me. I agree with you. I think I keep Rayshon Jenkins. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, 3 interceptions. He obviously has 4 pass breakups, cool. But overall, he is a starting safety over a gadget wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he is, would do the Jaguars win if Rayshon Jenkins does Dewey Wingard catch that? He almost dropped the one that what's his name threw to him in Tennessee when they were in Tennessee. He dropped it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you
No,
trust
Jenkins,
any of
and
those
you know
guys to
what?
catch that? I don't.
Something that people may not realize, Jenkins comes up a lot in the box
He
and
does.
helps in the run. He really does. So
Mhm.
Jenkins, and there are so many players on this team that have improved. Veterans, not rookies,
Yeah.
veterans that are having career years with
Mm-hmm.
this coaching staff.
That's insane.
That is a testament. This fan base, hello, me included, hated Andrew Wingard.
Oh,
And 70,000 people swirled a towel with his catchphrase on it on
yeah.
Saturday night. You can't make this up. Like, you
It's
can't.
it's the season of destiny. It's one of those just weird things where he literally went from the most hated player on the team,
Yeah.
where they couldn't wait to get rid of him.
When I got the Twitter notification that we had brought him back on a deal, on 1 year deal, whatever, in the off season, I rolled my eyes so hard. I was like,
Oh,
oh, why? Why? Like, is the
mm-hmm.
special team stuff really that worth it? But it's Doug Peterson. I don't care if he wins the award or not. He is the coach of the year. And
He is.
it's really not a competition. I live around a lot of Eagle fans, and they all screech at me and say it's Nick Sirianni, but the Eagles have been a winning organization for a long time, and pretty much no matter who the coach is, they are always in playoff contention or in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You could make an argument, I guess, because Brian Dable has done a good job with Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But for a franchise that has had the first overall pick back-to-back years and has won 4 games over 2 years, to now have 9 wins and hosting a playoff game in 1 year, Trevor Lawrence is 23 years old. Doug Peterson, he still has many, many years left in the game. And this is what he's done in 1 year. For the next decade, this is the new AFC East. What Tom Brady did to that division for 2 decades, that's what the AFC South is now. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I cannot be more excited to see what happens going into the playoffs, going into 2023. Like, not to sidetrack and totally change the topic, but Trent Baalke, 2021 draft class was a good draft class.
Yes.
It was a very good draft class. If 2022 hits that same way, oh boy.
Yeah, with Trent Baalke, it comes down to if Trayvon Walker, because as of late, I mean, especially against Tennessee, he was excellent against the run. If Trayvon Walker can learn how to rush the passer and give me 7, 8, 9 sacks a year, and if Devin Lloyd can kind of figure out whatever's going on with him, yeah, because I think Luke Fortner is going to be our center for the next 8 to 10 years.
1,000%.
So that's a win. In the limited action he's gotten, Snoop Connor's been, I guess, serviceable.
Got a touchdown.
Yeah, Chad Moom has made some solid plays, solid tackler. So if Devin Lloyd can just kind of figure out, I guess, the scheme, lining up, whatever's going on with him. And if Trayvon Walker can just, I don't care if they line him up almost in that 3 technique instead of the outside rusher because he is bullying people on the inside.
Oh, let
I
him.
don't
Yeah.
care if you just have him do that and
Mhm.
then draft another edge rusher in the draft in April. Like it just
Don't say
because
that.
with this offense, if this team can consistently rush the passer, the Jaguars will double-digit wins seasons for years. If they can get these guys under rookie contracts on
Mhm.
a line and they can win now with Trevor, like it's awesome that I'm talking about this because
Oh,
24 months ago I was rooting for this team to lose
yeah,
in hopes of possibly having this, and now we have it, and
exactly.
it's incredible.
It feels so good. And honestly, I can't help but think, what is this defense like if Foye Oluokun is not on it? I mean, he has made. I mean, he has just been so good
Yeah,
with. I mean, not even talking about the veteran leadership stuff with two insanely talented young linebackers. Himself, he's still playing at an elite level. This is not just a bring in an old veteran and pay him some money so he hangs out and talks to the guys. He is.
right.
I mean,
He flies
if,
to the ball for sure.
if I
Yeah.
had to list the top, 3 to 5 most important defensive Jaguars, he's probably making top three,
Oh yeah,
and
I
he's
agree with that.
probably not three. He's honestly, I could probably make an argument that he is top two.
Throw Tyson Campbell up there as well
Yeah, like it would probably come down to Josh Allen, Foye, and Tyson.
because me included, Jaguar fans slaughtered him last year, and
Didn't play well.
he's really turned it around. It's remarkable how well he's turned around. But um, so anyway, I know because we're a little bit limited on time. Let's talk about the Chargers.
The who?
The
Oh,
the
the 28-point losers. That's who.
Yeah, the San Diego, LA, Californian, whatever they're from,
Yeah.
the Chargers. Now I'm going to go out on a limb. The Jaguars are not winning this game 38 to 10.
No.
Not happening.
I
And
1000%.
any Jaguar fan, if you think it is, please stop. It's not happening. Because if it was guaranteed to happen, I would probably either make the 20-hour drive down to Duval, or you know what, I'd pay the $600 plane ticket and hop down there. But you know what? It's not happening.
It's
This
not.
game, although it wouldn't shock me if the Jaguars did put up a whole bunch of points again, but I would probably bet very solid money that Justin Herbert and his that Charger offense will put up some points as well.
Now, I do want to read this off. I saw this on Twitter right before we came on. And it's on Twitter. It's from @CrowTweets. I'm going to put it up on the screen now so you guys can read along as I read them off for our just audio listeners. But 5 reasons I'm confident in the Jaguars beating the Chargers. Number 1, Doug Peterson has playoff experience. Staley doesn't. Valid point. The Jags are healthier. Valid point. 3, the Chargers were down 10 in the fourth quarter to Denver. This was the only game of the season Russell Wilson looked like the Russell Wilson Denver thought they were getting. Great point. 4, 9 of the 10 Chargers wins come from teams in the top 12 of the draft. Think about the teams that are in the draft in the top 12. Texans, Titans, Colts. I'm just throwing that out there. We're the only one not in the top 12. And it's a home game. This place is going to be losing its mind. It was losing its mind against the Titans. It's going to be losing it for a playoff game. NBC is going to be there. It's going to be a live atmosphere. I can't wait. I mean, I still think it's a 2-score game.
So the thing that more so than that too, I think the thing that gives the Jaguars an advantage is the Chargers were just in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to travel to LA. then traveled to Jacksonville. It's not like the Chargers were home,
Mm-hmm.
finished up, and then went to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They're making 2 big trips in a couple of days.
In a short week.
And
Yep.
Brandon Staley is kind of a moron. And in a game that meant nothing, was playing his marquee players. And I haven't heard that it's serious, but I heard Joey Bosa got banged up.
Yep.
And I heard that Mike Williams was carted off. But then I've heard that his x-rays were negative.
Yes.
So, which obviously I'm not,
We're not
it's
doctors.
not Titan players. I'm not wishing any harm on anyone. I'm glad that he's not seriously hurt. But Mike Williams did play in that game back in week 3, and Tyson Campbell held him in check for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So now Keenan Allen, on the other hand, if the Chargers line him up in the slide, Lord have mercy, I do not like Trey Herndon against Keenan Allen. I think that could end up being worse than what Dallas did with CeeDee Lamb in the slide.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all game long, CeeDee Lamb demolished Trey Herndon in the slide.
Yes.
Keenan Allen could do something very similar.
But at the same time, I have confidence in the fact that this Jaguar secondary is playing well. They're not playing poorly. And the Chargers, Rashawn Slater is out. So at least that side of the line is compromised. I don't know what the right tackle situation is looking like, but I mean, Rashawn Slater went out in the Jag game and he was out. I believe it was a season-ending injury. So
he got hurt against the Jaguars, I think.
He did.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker was too much for his shoulder to handle,
I guess. Oh, here we go. Okay.
You know what? Trayvon don't get to the quarterback much, but what he does do, he causes holding penalties and he puts left tackles on IR. So I'll give him that.
Hey, sometimes you just got to be good at one thing. I'm not saying you should go out there with a club and start injuring players, but if you're good at something, you're good at it. That's all. You can infer what I mean by that statement, and be mad at me if you want to. I don't know.
Listen,
mad at your own inference.
What I would do, because I had actually, until you said that, I forgot that Rashawn Slater was out.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chargers have been playing with their backup left tackle. I don't think the Jaguars have used Devin Lloyd enough to blitz because he did that a lot at Utah.
Yes.
I don't think, because Justin Herbert's mobile, yes, but you're not going to have to worry. I think Josh Dobbs was probably more of a running threat than Justin Herbert is.
Yep.
So I would blitz from that left side with Devin Lloyd and Trayvon Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that, for at least in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as the game goes on, the Chargers are going to, they're going to scheme and they're going to
slide and everything.
And you might have to switch Devin Lloyd on the other side. But that's something the Jaguars have not really done a lot of all year. I mean, they put Darius Williams on the outside. That worked out great. They put Trayvon Walker with his hand in the dirt, rushing the passer. He's been much more disruptive with that. Let Devin Lloyd rush the passer. He was phenomenal at it in Utah. And you know what? If he's having some rookie issues, with coverage and everything, leave that more to Aluakon and Muma and have Devin Lloyd on the line as that extra blitzer. And just, what's the worst that can happen? The Chargers struggle on the offensive line. Throw the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah, I'm all in. I am somebody that is probably one of the more, I would love to just send somebody every play. Rayshawn Jenkins, send a safety, send a corner. And the past 2 of the 3 weeks, we've seen a quarterback get annihilated by a safety blitz. Zach Wilson got destroyed by Andre Sisco, and then obviously we all remember the strip sack on Josh Dobbs. Send safeties. I mean, Mike Caldwell has heated up in the last little quarter of the season with the blitz packages, with the defenses he's calling. His defenses have been playing much better than what we've seen in the last couple weeks. It's like they're like literally just sharks in the water smelling blood, and they're playing out of their minds recently.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
It's
Even Andrew Wingard is making plays.
Dewey's on his way, man. Dewey's on his way. The Jags are not going to be able to keep Dewey this year. Another reason why I think they should keep Rayshon. I think it's going to be an Aaron Colvin situation again, where we're looking at Andrew Wingard the same way we looked at him. Hey, if you stay, incredible. You're in great depth piece. You play the role we have for you very well. But some team is going to look at him like the Texans looked at Aaron Colvin and go, "We think you can be an outside corner." When we told them, "No, he can't be." I think some teams going to look at Dewey and go, "You're a starting safety." And they're going to pay him more money, and they're going to take him, and he's going to show why he's not a starting safety.
But you know what? Andrew Wingard, he loves Doug Peterson. He loves the Jags. So he'll take the hometown discount.
I appreciate your optimism. I guess I'll be the Debbie Downer of this.
So the Jaguars winning Saturday night.
Oh, hell yeah, they are. This is a divisional round playoff team.
Okay.
This is a divisional round playoff team. I felt that way leaving the Dallas game because Dallas is a divisional round playoff team. Baltimore with Lamar Jackson is a divisional round playoff team.
Yeah.
And we beat both of them in playoff scenario games. Down to the wire, missed kick late, and an overtime walk-off pick six. I mean,
yeah.
You don't get national championship games where there's 62-7 in the NFL playoffs, unless the Jaguars are playing Dan Marino, I guess. I kind of walked into that one.
Yeah.
But here we got a little bit of time left. Do they win? I'll answer your own question there.
It's almost my confidence almost stems more from I do think that the Chargers are poorly coached. I think the Chargers are one of those teams where I think if Doug Peterson was on the Chargers, they'd probably be the number 1 or number 2 seed in the AFC because the Chargers are stacked talent-wise. They really are.
Yes.
But Brandon Staley's a moron. I mean, if you ask any NFL fan, who would you rather have coaching in a playoff game, Doug Peterson or Brandon Staley? It's not even a question.
Yeah.
So from that alone, I do trust, and I think a lot of the stagnant offense that we saw, against Tennessee, part of it was they couldn't get ETN going. The Chargers' defensive or run against the defense against the running game is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They average, I think I saw like 140 yards a game. They average. So ETN, I fully expect him to have a 100+ yard game, which will set up play action and try. I think what we saw, in November, December, Trevor Lawrence, I think we see that Saturday night.
Score prediction, quick.
Jaguars win 30-28.
Boom. 24-10 Jaguars win. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to drop all of his links down below in the description. Stay safe and go Jaguars.
Go Jags.
How about them Jags?
Come on, Joe! Ah! Thank you, baby! Thank you! You making blood come from my damn mouth!